continue with our breaking coverage as the family of Virginia Giuffre speaks out on the Epstein scandal. Joining us now, Democratic Senator Chris Coons of Delaware. He is a member of the Judiciary Committee.
Senator Coons, thank you for joining us tonight. We want to play a little bit more sound from that interview our colleague Hallie Jackson had with Virginia Giuffre's family. This is her sister-in-law, Amanda Roberts, again, with a message to lawmakers. Take a listen.
We don't need to be seeking predators for answers. We need to get close and personal with the people who are living this real experience and find out what laws would have been in place that could have made a difference for them, that could have got them out earlier, that could have gave them a chance to try them in court and put them where they belong. Those are the voices you need to be speaking. Those are the questions that we need to ask.
Senator, your thoughts on those comments from Virginia's sister?
Well, Virginia was someone who came forward and was a powerful and effective advocate on behalf of all of those who were victims of sex trafficking. She was herself, of course, a victim of both Epstein and Maxwell. And the point she's making is, instead of the leadership of Trump's Department of Justice going and meeting with someone who's serving a 20-year prison term for sex trafficking, someone who helped traffic her deceased sister, the Department of Justice, the Trump administration should instead be releasing the files that they have, making transparent all the records and data that they have, and listening to victims. At the end of the day, there are young girls who were trafficked and who were victims of this entire tragic case. And in my view, President Trump's failure to release the Epstein files is just another example of a promise made and promise broken. He promised he would release the Epstein files on day one as president. He promised he'd bring an end to the fighting in Gaza and Ukraine on day one as president. He promised he'd bring down prices for Americans. And yet, Symone, later tonight, double-digit tariffs are going to go into place on dozens of countries around the world, and prices will go up. Across all of these, what President Trump's doing is not delivering on the promises he made, and Virginia's sister is calling on him to do just that.
Congressman, Senator, to your point, you've got congressional Republicans who are effectively slow-walking any effort to get the Epstein files released. In fact, you had House Oversight Chair James Comer yet to put the subpoena in play to the Justice Department. And then you also have Senate Republicans blocking an effort by your fellow Democrats to pass the Epstein Files Transparency Act. What does all of this storyline say to you about where this is likely to end up? Because the reality of it is, Republicans don't want this to move. It's not moving.
Well, Michael, you said they're slow walking it, and I thought to myself, actually, they fast ran away. The House of Representatives ran away from their last days. We're still here in the Senate working to try and pass bipartisan appropriations bills, one of which includes an amendment that was adopted by voice vote on our committee that would have directed the DOJ to preserve all the Epstein-related files and to present us with details about what they have and what they can release. It's my hope we will still take a vote on that later tonight. But there are clear signs that Republicans, largely because of direction from President Trump, I suspect, are trying to slow walk or prevent or run away from or change the topic from anything related to releasing the details of the victims of Epstein.
Senator, you are someone who prides yourself on working across the aisle. You talk to a lot of Republicans. I'm very curious. I think these two are as well. What they are telling you about why they are slow walking, running away from whatever motion you want to add there, why they are not allowing these votes to go through, and as a matter of fact, are stopping them over and over and over again. Because a lot of these folks who are saying, now they're saying don't release them, are people who ran on, or at least talked about this as a conspiracy theory, talked about the Epstein files being the key to us understanding American politics, et cetera, et cetera. What are they so afraid of? What do they tell you behind closed doors?
So no Republican senator has said to me privately, oh, I know that there are terrible things in those files and we're not releasing them because that's what we were told by President Trump. No one has said that. And frankly, as the Republican caucus in the Senate has become more and more MAGA Republicans and more loyal to Trump, there are fewer with whom I'm regularly talking and who are willing to share with me what's really going on in their caucus and their deliberations. That's what's made legislating here harder, particularly since the re-election of President Trump. But in the markup in public of the Appropriations Committee on the Commerce, Justice, Science bill, we unanimously adopted by voice vote an amendment offered, I believe, by Chris Van Hollen that would have required the Department of Justice to preserve all the Epstein files and give us information about what's in them and how they might move forward with this case. That's because the idea of releasing the Epstein files was then relatively new in terms of the public debate. As it's moved on and as Trump has clearly expressed his desire to change the subject, things have gotten tighter and more difficult here. Of course, the folks who ran away the fastest are gone. That's the House Republicans.
They are gone. One more point on this then, Senator. Obviously, as you noted, Senator Schumer is taking great lengths to a deal. I guess how to put it in layman's terms for folks. There is a maneuver that is available to Senate Democrats that hasn't been used in about over 100 years, where you could directly get this information that you seek from the Justice Department. Senator Schumer has even noted that Senate Democrats are willing to sue on this. I think the last time it was used, it had to do with the corruption and real estate and oil in Wyoming about 100 years ago when Harding was president. Are you confident that that maneuver is going to yield you these documents? And if you receive them, what then?
Look, if we had control of them, we'd release them. The larger point here is that it was Republicans and principally President Trump who ran on a whole series of conspiracy theories. It's not that Democrats have been working diligently to try and sue the Department of Justice to release these documents in recent months, because we always expected that President Trump, who ran on "I will release these files," would do so. As I said, he made a lot of promises in his campaign. He promised not to cut Medicaid. He has. They've passed the so-called Big Beautiful Bill that cut Medicaid. He promised he was going to lower prices. He hasn't. He's going to impose tariffs tonight that will raise them. It's principally on President Trump to explain to the American people what he's afraid of and what he's hiding. The exotic maneuver you're referring to, Symone, I'm not certain if it will work or not, but I'm also not fully briefed by the relevant lawyers who are working on it now. We are trying to do everything we can to get this relevant information out.
Senator, we have less than a minute left, but I do want you to pick up on one thing you noted there about tomorrow, August 1st, Tariff Day. Your thoughts real quick, sir.
We're going to see prices go up. President Trump, who's never really been known as Donnie Details, said that he would get 90 tariff deals in 90 days. He's gotten a handful. He hasn't dug into the details of how these tariffs will impact the American people. And if they're actually imposed tomorrow, and there's no reason to think they won't be, it's going to be double-digit increases in things that we import from countries all over the world. This will increase inflation, it'll increase prices, and it'll impact the daily economy of millions of American households. I think it's going to be a rough couple of weeks for us ahead.
That last part, Senator Chris Coons, thank you so much, sir. Really appreciate you.